India, a nation of over 1.4 billion people, is a tapestry of languages, religions, castes, and communities. Its diversity is both its strength and its challenge, shaping the country's politics in complex and sometimes volatile ways. In recent years, the rise of identity-based divisiveness, often referred to as the politics of hate, has become a defining feature of India's electoral landscape, particularly under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP. To understand why this approach has proven so electorally effective, one must delve into a mixture of history, ideology, strategy, media influence, and the psychology of mass mobilization. The roots of communal tension in India run deep, shaped by centuries of social stratification and political manipulation. British colonial rule, for instance, left an indelible mark on the nation's psyche. The strategy of divide and rule was systematically employed by the colonial administration to fracture Indian society along lines of religion and caste, making it easier to govern. This legacy of suspicion and separation culminated in the traumatic partition of 1947, an event that saw millions displaced and hundreds of thousands killed in communal violence. The scars of partition, particularly between Hindu and Muslim communities, have never fully healed. Periodic outbreaks of communal violence, such as the Gujarat riots in 2002, have kept these wounds fresh, making them susceptible to political exploitation. It is against this backdrop that the BJP's rise must be understood. Unlike the secular nationalism espoused by the Congress Party in the years following independence, the BJP is ideologically rooted in Hindutva, a form of cultural nationalism promoted by its parent organization, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, RSS. Hindutva envisions India as fundamentally a Hindu nation, where minorities such as Muslims and Christians are often cast, either overtly or subtly, as outsiders or even threats to the nation's integrity. This narrative is further bolstered by framing historical policies of Muslim appeasement as injustices that need correction. Through this lens, the BJP positions itself as the champion of Hindu interests, seeking to right wrongs of the past and galvanize a broad swath of the Hindu electorate. The effectiveness of this approach is amplified by the BJP's sophisticated use of media and narrative control. Over the past decade, large segments of India's mainstream media have grown increasingly sympathetic to the government, or, at the very least, reluctant to offer substantive criticism. This has resulted in sensationalized coverage of certain issues, such as love jihad, beef bans, and tensions with Pakistan, that reinforce divisive narratives. Social media platforms like WhatsApp and Facebook have become breeding grounds for the circulation of hate speech, conspiracy theories, and fake news, often targeting minority communities. These digital echo chambers create parallel realities for their users, feeding a constant diet of us versus them rhetoric that drowns out nuance and dissent. Electoral strategy is at the heart of the BJP's success with identity politics. In a country as diverse as India, building a winning coalition is no small feat. The BJP has managed to unite disparate Hindu castes under a common banner, particularly in politically crucial states like Uttar Pradesh. By tapping into latent fears and resentments, sometimes by subtly portraying minorities as overprivileged or disloyal, the party consolidates the Hindu vote, often using coded language or dog whistle politics that sends clear signals to its base while maintaining plausible deniability. These tactics are not just about winning elections through numbers, they also serve to distract from governance shortcomings. When the political conversation is dominated by questions of identity and security, issues like unemployment, inflation, or social inequality recede into the background. For many voters, the perceived existential threat to their community becomes more urgent than policy failures. The BJP's dominance has been further facilitated by the relative weakness of its opposition. Secular parties, once the custodians of India's pluralist ethos, have found themselves struggling to articulate a coherent alternative. Accusations of minority tokenism, internal divisions, and a lack of grassroots presence have plagued these parties, making it easier for the BJP to set the agenda. Meanwhile, the BJP RSS ecosystem operates a vast network of ground-level organizations, schools, and volunteer groups that keep it deeply connected to local realities. This organizational strength allows the party to deliver its message more effectively and mobilize support where it matters most. National crises, real or manufactured, provide further opportunities for the politics of hate to thrive. In times of tension, such as following terrorist attacks or border skirmishes, the BJP has deftly invoked themes of national security and patriotism to rally support and silence dissent. Critics of government policies are often labeled as anti-national, while protests by minorities, such as those against the Citizenship Amendment Act, CAA, or the National Register of Citizens, NRC, are framed as threats to public order or national unity. Dissenters, from students to journalists, may face harassment, legal action, or worse, reinforcing the message that the nation is under siege from both external enemies and internal traitors. In this charged atmosphere, the boundaries between legitimate dissent and subversion become blurred, allowing hate politics to flourish under the guise of patriotism. At a deeper level, the psychological appeal of hate politics cannot be underestimated. In a world of growing economic uncertainty, rapid change, and social upheaval, the promise of simple answers is seductive. By blaming minorities for unemployment, crime, or other societal ills, politicians offer their supporters a sense of clarity and moral certainty. The narrative of belonging to a larger victorious group, defending the faith, the culture, or the nation, confers not only pride but also a sense of purpose. This sense of righteous aggression, of standing up against perceived threats, can be deeply empowering, especially when reinforced by a community of like-minded individuals. Yet, it is crucial to recognize that the politics of hate, while electorally effective, is neither inevitable nor universally accepted. India's democratic fabric is resilient, sustained by millions who reject divisiveness and continue to fight for pluralism and inclusion. Civil society organizations, independent journalists, artists, and ordinary citizens push back against hate speech and polarization, often at great personal risk. The country's legal and constitutional framework still provides avenues for redress and resistance, even as these are tested by the pressures of majoritarian politics. In sum, the ascendancy of identity-based divisiveness in India under the BJP, Narendra Modi, is the product of a complex interplay of history, ideology, media strategy, organizational strength, and psychological dynamics. It leverages old wounds and new anxieties, weaving them into a potent narrative that resonates with large sections of the population. But the story is not finished. As India moves forward, the contest between exclusion and inclusion, between hate and hope, will continue to shape its destiny. The outcome will depend not just on politicians and parties, but on the choices made by millions of Indians. Choices that will determine whether the politics of hate remains ascendant or whether the promise of a plural, democratic India can be reclaimed.